Born and raised in New York City, Danny Matos is the $1,000 winner of the recent 2013 Poetry Idol competition. He has been interested in poetry since grade school, but he battled many years of self-image issues, which prolonged his ability to gain enough confidence to write and perform. He began performing at the Inspired Word in the fall of 2012 and has performed at various venues, including the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, Bar 13, and the Poets' Den Theater. He draws inspiration from anyone and everywhere, and feels that a genuine connection is one of humanity's greatest needs. Words give us a purpose bigger than ourselves, he says, and they can connect people faster than modern transportation. And it's much greener for this earth. It doesn't require gasoline. He's also a personal trainer and writer-contributor for the Weekly Mindshift, an extension of freethinkingrenegades.com. Please welcome Danny Matos to the stage.
I'm gonna try to project, so we'll see how it goes. But as Rel said, thank you guys for being here. Admittedly, I probably would have walked past this place, so it's cool to see that they exist. So I wrote this piece because there's I don't see him anymore, but there was a homeless kid, guy, or whatever. Couldn't have been any more than 2 or 3 years older than me, and I always used to speak to him, and I always used to feel like I wish I could do more. And every time I give to one, then I see one 10 seconds later, and I can't give to all of them, and I just feel like there's just so much I wish I could do, but I can't. So this inspired me to write this piece. To my friend in the vestibule, I wish I can say this to you. I wonder what that stuff does that love can't address. Better yet, I wonder what love did that you used that to suppress. You know, sometimes I wish I could talk about other things, but I fear those other things may only appear as distractions from the circles you're running in. And those other things may just entertain you, but not enter you to tame you and save you from the shackles around your ankles. Because somehow I know you just ain't you. My concern is that you're really treading water, fishing for reasons to live, and those other things just bait you. If it's not shameful to talk about angels, then the other way, well, is fair game too, because up doesn't exist without down, and sometimes the ground gets tired of holding up gravestones. I know at times it seems as if the world conspires to constrain you, and you grow too tired to be grateful, on the verge of blowing like propane fuel from the irony that states you can do whatever you want in this world, but doesn't ever show you how to obtain, and that's cruel, and I get it. Cracking a smile may become as temporary as crack in the vial, speaking of which, someone somewhere just like you is shooting heaven in their arms. Scattered track marks, waiting for someone to connect their dots and show them a way up that lasts. And someone somewhere just like you is drinking to find their message in a bottle, because bodies drown and sink to the bottom and bottles float. So it's easier to be seen in them, and the patience to wait for someone to save them is always easier when swallowing Ciroc. So these addictions come from additions. It's no wonder we had so much trouble in math class subtracting a negative. Plus the positive teachers would say, but it isn't always that way, because when our darkness isn't honored and is always perceived as a lack of progress upon us, we succumb to those monsters and don't see past the corners we're lost in. I say us because I see myself in you, in him, in her too. I question if I'm that different than the guy that's homeless, if I feel disguised and less home in my own skin some moments. And there has to be more I can do. How can I just hand them a book when thinking of some things that might help, when that book is full of clusters of words that are hugging closer together than I ever got to him myself? And something seems weird to me about handing him currency, when currently his current seems like curtains that'll never be opening, and the concept of food can be so tricky. It's the best thing you've ever had when you have it, the worst thing in existence when you need it, and would I really be making a difference with this chicken if once again tomorrow you'll be depleted? You know, I'm walking past you and these people every day. Do I really pass you if I see you every day? Should I even ask you? Should I really say, I wish I can help you more, but help is on the way. Help is on the faith. I feel so guilty saying that though, because a lack of faith is the reason behind your blackened days. And well, I can only be a friend, so tell me, is a friend enough to stay? This poem lost its virginity to these words. To give birth to the sounds I hope your ears can hear, young men, Slanging on the corner will only get you slain to meet the coroner. And all that slang you talk is even cornier. You are slaving to your corpses and holding down pavements for payments that only give you court visits with officers. You lack the patience required when you try to be creative. Little do you know, through the forks in your road, they already have a plate for you. They wait for you as you placate to the expectations they place on your place in society, because they already think minority boys will always be minor league, never major. Unless, of course, they convince you to become major, or unless, of course, you major in a subject that will still keep you waging for a waiver to somehow give you a way to be yourself before you waste away, because you are defending a territory that will tear your story into nothing more than another young man who never crossed the finish line. The corporate but never cordial media will finesse lies about you. Those sharks will call you just another fish who died, just another forensic file. Will say you never had fins to fly because you'd rather finish lines than find a life. So stop adding grass and grams to add a grand you'll spend on ads that land you consuming things you already have. And damn, pull up your pants. The only reason they should be sagging is if you're hunched over with pants from chasing bigger plans. And don't concern yourself with bagging unless your actions are gonna carry her like a man. Spend less time in bookings and more time with books in your hands, less time in pens, cells, and more time with pencils in your hands, less time behind the silence of steel teeth, and more time rhyming while you can still speak. Open your eyes. They are waiting to label you. Would love to be caging you for one small mistake or two, make you a paragraph in a parable after they're done front paging you. Tell them you're a pagan and you won't ever believe their statements. Young women, going down on him, hoping he will rise to your standards. Hoping he will be more than an overnight camper. Stop trying to make him see the God in you through sex. He doesn't see halos on your head. Just another woman whose lips are lost searching for halos in men, and they'll take those until the hate lows from those shame blows become too much to men. They will prey on you because they know you pray for them, and just because he says he'll come with prayers doesn't mean you should swallow his blasphemy. Wait for the ones who want forever with you. Wait for the ones who want forever with you, never casually. Who say he doesn't need to look around because you are the whole pageant. The one who says you're the sign he's been waiting for and he won't pass it. The one who will continue reading your Bible after one passage into you, to him your spiritual magic. Not the proof you're a goner because he'll throw you away, but the proof he feels honored because he's gonna be safe. And before he flies south, no dude's name deserves to spend night on your tongue if he doesn't respect your house, your temples. Your temples are way more than your mental. You make sure you march to your own tempo. Remember this memo. Fabric doesn't breathe. Magazines will not bring you majesties. They will try and sell you happiness, but it's within you, and that map is free. You may feel like you are a broken fragment, but if so, you are a masterpiece. So ignore those so-called ideal perceptions of complexion or a body weight obsession. You have purpose. But purchasing purses will never prevent you from feeling worthless. If you feel you don't deserve best, if you look close enough, you will see the sun in your person. Open your eyes. They are waiting to label you. Would love to be caging you for one small mistake or two, make you a paragraph in a parable after they're done front paging you. Tell them you're a pagan and you won't ever believe their statements. I only hope you can hear me. My mother knew how to raise the mother in me. I felt so different though because my father used to call me mantequilla. That's butter in Spanish. And because of that, sometimes I'd wonder if I was just too soft, too pliable, too bendable, too breakable. I wondered if my sensitiveness would be better served on a censorship list. If it would be better for me to weather my own emotions until they eroded in a road that not known to be so gentle. It's just events don't inherently come with names until we engage and attach one to the other as if all part of the same terrain. Hence that phrase, chain of events. We as people make connections amongst events in order for them to make sense, and my mother swears I'm the air that she breathes. So when they diagnosed her, I hope the doctors didn't blame it on her environment. And when my friends would talk about that chick and want to bone her, Bone would carry my body back to the skeletons in my closet. Back to '94 when he broke her arm and they just didn't understand why I wasn't like them. And while they were only concerned about getting in between that girl's hips when they boned her, I wanted to be her hips. The bones inside of her, because without me she couldn't move alone, and without her heartbeat I'd just be bones. I can't tell you how many times my mother was battered up on home's plate, but we still dug out love. She was rocked quite often, but was one hell of a mountain climber. She paid a hefty price to wear his fists. and they were the most expensive black and blue eye makeup I've ever seen. Their battles built graves on her body for the parts of her that died, on his hands. And when my friends would talk about the girl that week, they'd pound and then show her the door. It reminded me of the door that night. Pound, pound, pound. The door was the only thing between him and us. We hid in her room, and I learned something about home that night. As long as you're with who you love, as long as both hearts are touched down, safety is irrelevant despite any possible punt towards our own end zone. Pound, pound, pound. If only I were older, and if only each pound were a towel, I'd wipe the floor with him. And his words were no less potent, no less explosive, and they gladly stepped in for his hands when they were too busy with their Heineken potion, and when my friends would brag about how many metaphorical lampshades they looked under in their room, how many lamps laid as mental trophies on the nightstand surrounding their bed. My mother always said if I let them shine in my mind, I wouldn't need not even one nightstand to hold them high. Spell a woman. A woman is a man on woe, and you can still be fly if you land on one. So just so you know, disrespect them and you're kicking dirt on the land from which we all grow. And my father told me to go back where I came from. So many times I realized, when most guys are treating the inside like a candy store, I found all the getting inside in the world won't matter until you feel like you found your golden wrapper. And when most guys are wishing that girl is blind enough to not see their ulterior motives, they've forgotten that most women have superpowers. All they see are invisible men, and I wanted to make her feel my words like Braille for the unseen. I wanted to bring life to those frozen in time words once told to her, because those I love yous and I miss yous from her past were paralyzed from the neck down. They were just trying to get ahead. And what's alive needs oxygen to live, and sooner or later she was only living to breathe life into those words, and I wanted to breathe life back into her. And my mother taught me things. She said, just because someone before you spent time in your boiler room doesn't mean they turn the heat on. She said, no matter who's smashed, you make sure you love her to pieces, and a girl's past is like cremated ash, it's been lived already. My mother said kisses are like stitches. They heal all wounds as long as they don't remain hidden in the bottom right corner of special occasion birthday cards, because every kiss doesn't begin with K, they begin with lips, and so does every life. And it's time for us guys to start respecting where we came from. Woo!